come that was A, B, C. That was the third one. I don't have time. It's a fallacy. We do have time for what's important. We have energy for what's important. If it was raining buckets, I don't want to go out tonight so we can stay in. But if I said there was $100,000 in a bag down under every seat for every person who comes tonight, let me tell you, we would inconvenience ourselves and be here. Why? Because, oh my gosh, we're energized to go through whatever. I'll walk if I have to. We have energy and we have time for really what's important to us. Remember? You start breaking those old patterns, and it's hard. It's hard. This one, the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making a mistake. What if I start something and it doesn't work out? What if I start and you know what, I'm still got to follow through. What if I don't follow through with this thing? What if I just, what if I mess this up? What if I make a mistake? Well, you just keep going, don't you? But that stops a lot of people. The fear of making a mistake. You know the awesome thing about mistakes is that mistakes and failures are part of a journey forward. When you don't do everything exactly right, that's a sign that you're growing. Because you're growing and you're learning. There's a Dr. Paul Sheely, a phenomenal man of God, but a phenomenal you call it a scientist on the thinking, on the mind. And he gets called into big corporations to find out why they're not performing, or why performance has gone down, or there's a problem somewhere in management. And he said he walked into this big business one day, and there was a sign on the door, "Do it right the first time." Now, that might be something that I would have done once. Well, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. No, it's worth doing with all your heart. Do it right the first time. So he asked all the managers that he had to go in and talk to, he said, "How does that sign make you feel? What does that mean to you? Do it right the first time, or else," they go, we're going to get into trouble. We're going to get sacked. It led no room for creativity, no room for growth. And so what it did, it made everybody afraid. And so they just stayed in their little boxes of stuff that they were so familiar with, and they were trying to work under this pressure of do it right the first time. Very few people get it right the first time. Oops, poked my glasses in my eye just about. Once you decide that you're going to launch out onto growth in any area of your life, like your kids. Okay, you know what? I'm listening to somebody who's raised a family. They've got material. They're successful. Or even if they haven't got material, I know them to be successful. Look at their children. Okay, now, from now on, my children, first of all, I don't want to start because my kids are never just going to come into line with some of this stuff. Growth is messy. You try to get those kids now, we're all going to sit together and have dinner. And you're going to turn off the TV. You're going to leave your cell phones in the other room. And we're going to eat and communicate. Now, if you haven't done that in your household before, you're going to have a war on your hands. It's going to be messy. But if you want to bring growth to family and family time, we've got to bring communication. We've got to get some of this stuff out of their face and bring speaking and communication and honesty in the family. You can't communicate, well, we've got a movie on. Shh, I just missed that. My son's always having a go at me. I just picked the wrong times to try to communicate. I'm a mother. What can I say? Sometimes there's no filter. How was your day? Actually, he just looks. I got that. But you know, if you want to retrain some things in your family and bring some sort of order and some sort of relationships into the family, then you know what? You're going to stumble your way through it, but you will get there if you don't quit. You read, you say, okay, how did you deal with this? How did you change gears? And you pick somebody who's done this. And you say, what did you do first? How did you say this? How did you deal with this? And we have blended families now in America, in the world everywhere. Find somebody who's, excuse me, who can do this, who has expertise at putting kids together in the same family as brothers and sisters. All these things we can decide to grow in and do well. We can take our families on a journey. Now, I'm not saying you've got to sit around the dinner table, and I'm just giving you examples of growth. Examples of maybe some things that we want to set in motion. Maybe it's finance. Maybe I need to look at my giving. Maybe I need to look at how I manage. Maybe I need to look so I pick up a book on somebody who's done well. Somebody who's paying their bills and live within their means, or I talk to somebody who can do that. And I become transparent and I become accountable. That's what brings growth. Business, how do I grow these things? And you won't succeed straight up. You're going to stumble, you're going to grow. Is this all right? I just get excited about this. Believe you me, I get challenged, as I said last week, as I prepare it, challenged as I say it, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, there's people down there that know me like the back of my... See, once you decide to grow, expect and welcome mistakes. They're a sign of moving forward. The mistake gap. The next one is similar, but not exact, the perfection gap. You see, the mistake gap says, the mistake person says, well, I don't want to start because I might make a mistake. The perfectionist says, I'm not starting till I've got a plan that works. See, a perfectionist forgets why they're doing what they're doing. They're just looking for the right plan, the right results. Anything else is second. A perfectionist, I love it, I think it was Abe Lincoln said, have no fear of perfection, you'll never attain it. But some of us have this perfectionist thing going for us, and what it does, it stifles creativity. You can't make a perfect plan. Plans of growth are made on the way. That drives perfectionists absolutely nuts. Plans of growth happen, they're adjusted on the way. You know this, they told a story about this librarian, and I laughed so hard, and then I realized it was me too. You know when you laugh at somebody else, and you realize all of a sudden you feel a slap up the side of your head, and you're like, oh my gosh, I would have done that. About the librarian. She worked in the library, she kept the books, and she's like, she said one day as she closed up shop, she said, I've got all the books back. The library is full. There's only one book missing. Everything is right. There's no gaps anywhere. It's nearly perfect. But she forgot that the library is supposed to have books out. A library is supposed to have gaps where people actually have taken books out to read them. There's a story of someone who was a cleaner in one of the churches. It was a church that John Maxwell pastored. He said he had a cleaner who would get those floors so shiny. He'd say, look at this, this floor. You could eat off this floor. And then he said Sunday came and went. And the guy would come up to, look at this floor. Look at this floor. There's footprints all over the floor. Look at this floor. It's a mess. He forgot the reason for the floor was for people to come in and out on. See, a perfectionist has just got to get it nailed down. And then we can sleep well. I listened to that story about the library and I laughed so hard until I realized I would be exactly like that. Exactly. See, the mistake person is afraid of making a mistake. The perfectionist won't start because they don't have a perfect plan that they're sure of. I won't start till I got a plan. You might start your growth. You might start doing some things, and then you'll change along the way. You'll go, well, I'm just going to shift that up. I'm going to move that. And you'll change along the way, but you'll start with something basic, and you'll adjust along the way. But perfectionism won't let anyone start without a perfect plan, and a mistake gap says, I might make a mistake, so I'm afraid of trying. Unfortunately, in the faith-filled life, people are afraid to have a go in case they don't quite measure up. And we need to take that out. We need to get rid of some of that, because I want to tell you, we're all a growth, we're all a journey in progress. We're all growing. And we need to be allowed to fall down. We need to allow each other to fail. We can't have an attitude of saying, do it right the first time. These are some of the real reasons. Have you ever been afraid of the unknown, so we don't make a choice and we don't make a decision of what might happen or may not happen? One of my favorite things that I ever saw on Facebook is a girl on a motorbike, which I really like anyway. But the caption was, don't let the fear of what might happen stop you from making anything happen. You'll never be assured that you won't make a mistake, and you'll never start with the right plan. You'll start with a plan and develop it along the way. I'm going to be good tonight. I'm trying to stick to my time. Perfection. The best plans of growth happen as we grow, not as we start. Like, how many times, Pastor Todd, have you changed? Like, we're going to grow like this, we're going to do this, and we go along and we adjust. We adjust. When they launch a rocket ship up to the moon, the whole journey is a journey of adjustment. It's not a straight line. Adjust few degrees this way, few degrees this way. We adjust it with the conditions. They adjust it the whole way. The next one, and probably the last one that we're going to talk about tonight, then we're going to finish off with some personal stuff here, is the inspirational gap. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. You know, out of all the gaps, all the things that require us to address fear or address the fear of the unknown or the fear of the plan or fear of making a mistake, this is the easiest. You just do it anyway. See, I was listening to Pastor Todd's message on Sunday, and he talked about feelings during that message of hope. Remember? He was talking about feelings. See, feelings very rarely lead us to right actions, but right actions lead us to right feelings. Feelings, very rarely, we are more apt to act our way into good and right feelings than we are to feel our way into right actions that take us forward. That they say a difference between a winner and a whiner. A winner and a whiner is a winner does it, and a whiner will tell you why they can't. Now, remember, we're adulting. Well, it's just, I've got a reason. I had to watch 6 hours of television. I just had to. So the reason I didn't spend my day correctly is because I was tired and I had to do that. Tom sits in his big red chair, he says. But you see, a winner does it on purpose. A winner doesn't need to be inspired. They don't need the right feelings. They do it because it needs to be done. But the other is someone who's always got a reason. Anyone like me and you just haven't felt like it and you've got all these great reasons? Anyone? We just can be so creative with that stuff. See, it's a funny thing in Christianity. We're meant to think that we've got to feel inspired to do stuff. You know, that God is inspirational. That all of a sudden I feel to do this and feel to do that. And that couldn't be further from the truth when you look at the Bible. Yes, God inspired men to write these books. Yes, God inspires, but God is a planner. God's a strategist. God didn't do everything by feelings. Well, I feel like doing this today, and intuitively I'm going to do. God planned. I mean, who else counts 437 sheep, 5 donkeys? I mean, God numbered the people. He numbered the animals. He numbered. You couldn't get a more detailed strategist than our Creator. He didn't just say, well, I feel like creating today, so I'm going to create the earth. He planned it. It started with the word in him, and he spoke it. He knew on Monday what he was going to do on Friday. He's a planner. Well, I didn't do it because I didn't feel led. Well, where did that come from? Maybe I should have done it because I needed to do it. See, right actions will bring about right feelings. You know, when you push forward and you do something anyway, you might be tired, you might have to push through some emotional stuff, but you're going to go down and you're going to do it anyway. And you spend 15 minutes either praying. Maybe we've got to work on having a devotional every morning. Maybe we're going to get up and we're going to pray every morning and we don't do it now. Maybe we're going to do our personal growth stuff. And maybe we've got to fight through being tired because it's new. I mean, you've got to have coffee before you start. Truly, everybody's got to have coffee before they start their day, even with God. The first fast I ever did, I couldn't walk for 2 days. It was caffeine withdrawals. I was in bed sick. And that'd probably happen now. But you know, when you achieve something, even just 10 minutes, even just you went down there and you started to read and you started a devotional or you started to pray and you just gave it 10 minutes, that's not gone by feelings. You did it because it was right thing to do for your life, your future, for everything God put us here for. And when you walk away, you feel empowered. Yeah, it's this empowering, this celebration of small victories, and you celebrate that empowerment, you celebrate that victory. We feel empowered. And that's what drives us. That's what lifts us up. That's what gets us to go the extra mile, do the journey. Because what we do, we go small victory, we do that, and we're empowered. We don't say, well, I'm tired. It's not by feelings. It's by doing it because I am a steward of what God put in me. And I need to do this stuff, all of it. You know, it's I talk about intentionality and everything, and I won't get down there because of Facebook, because we're live, but you know the difference between a 5-talent person and a 1-talent person? You put the 3 of them, but we'll do the 1 and the 5 at that window and move that seat so it's a bit crooked, drop a piece of paper on the floor there, open that window. The 5-talent person, you'll say, would you mind closing that window? Of course. And on their way across to close the window, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that seat's crooked. Let me fix the seat up. Oh my gosh, look, there's a piece of paper on the floor. Let me pick up the trash. A 1-talent person says, well, if you had wanted me to do it, I would have. If you had told me. Always wanted to say that. But that's the truth. If you had told me. Intentional growth. We do it on purpose. And we overcome some of these obstacles. Somebody else mightn't have a fear of perfection, but they'll have a fear of failure, of making mistakes. But we get up and we do it anyway. We choose. Not because we've got the perfect plan. Not because we won't make mistakes. Not because we feel like doing it. Not because we assume that I'm this old that I don't need to learn anything. We do it because we are a fivefold steward of what God has given us. And we get out of bed and we show up for our day and we tell our day, you will serve me, I'll not serve you. You see, as we come to a close tonight, I'm so determined to stick to the time. 8 o'clock comes and I said to Pastor Todd, I want to be right with this. You know, people are generous, but a good speaker sticks to time. I believe that. Always. Well, I'm hoping I'm a decent speaker, but I mean, I want to be strict with time. You know, ask ourselves now, how many people have ever procrastinated in doing something and never ever got to do it? What about today? Today. Well, I'll start tomorrow. The diet that starts tomorrow never starts. The program that starts tomorrow never starts. The more we put off something, the more likely we are never to do it. That's a statistic. Now, I want to ask you, and see, at the end of this, we can get some material. There are people, if you just make little notes and let us know. If you're looking for resource, you know, books, mentors on family, on raising kids, on just business, on finances. If you're not sure where to go, Pastor Todd, myself, the leaders here, we can help you with resource. We can help you find mentors to grow the areas that we choose to work on in our life. We can. But what do you want to, I always say, what do we want to be when we grow up, you know? No, I'll never grow up, my friend. I don't think you will either. But anyway, we might get older, but... But dissect all this. You know, don't say, I want someone to mentor my whole life. Well, that's a big job. I mean, what part, your life consists of family, relationships, business, if you're a business person, finance. Oh my gosh, you know, we're afraid to talk about money in church. We need to talk about money. It's the currency of the world. You need money to live. Finance. Faith is the currency of heaven. Finance is the currency that we pay our bills with down here. So whatever we decide, it might be one, it might be all. It might be like my friend that you're going to do something new. You're going to pioneer something in your life. Whatever it is, out of all of those, sit down first, quietly, alone. And write out, I'd like to build my family. I'd like to build a business. I want to grow in business, family, relationships. I'm going to put off all of these gaps, and I'm going to get out of bed and I'm going to show up and start to give myself to growing and being a steward of what God has given me. Amen? Come on, we've all, I don't care how old we are, we've got stuff in us that's got to be birthed. Ministry, I don't know if I put ministry there. I thought, man, if you put Reinhard Bonnke in Rome, he'd look like Tom Roots. That's what it'd look like, Reinhard in Rome. You need to be saved, brother. Ministry. I want to win souls. Fivefold steward of the potential that God has given us. Amen? You're awesome. You go bless the world, go change the world. Amen? Thank you very much for having me again. Pastor Todd, thank you, everybody. You're awesome. Thanks.